Alright, you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. You know, I was thinking about it at work today because I do have a lot of time to think. I have my earmuffs on. I'm right next to the fucking tunnel driller as well. You can't really see it, but you see the tunnel, and it's just churning out fucking dust, noise, fucking slurry. It's actually a pretty cool site. I'll chuck a couple of vids up on Patreon. Anyway, I was having to think to myself with my fucking earmuffs on, my sunglasses on, my hard hat, my mask, every single bit of personal protective fucking equipment you can think of, I was wearing. And I was like, I'm starting to figure out this job. Like, I understand the concepts. That's what I fucking learnt from operating cranes. It was, as long as you understand the concepts, it's better than knowing like individual actions. If you understand what needs to be done on a whole, then if you've got a little bit of intelligence, you can piece it together and you can keep yourself fucking busy or whatever. Anyway, I was like, I'm getting this job. I sort of understand what's going on. In another few weeks, I'll know exactly what to do and I'll be able to do all of this. If not by myself, then more or less. And I'm like, that's a month. A month to know basically everything you need to do waterproofing these big jobs. This particular way, there's obviously other ways and whatever, but this particular way, I'm like, that's pretty fucking quick. And then I was like, dogmen, it took me about a year and a half being a dogman to figure out really what was going on there. It took me about 2.5, 3 years to get really good at it. And crane operating, you needed to be a dogman to get into the crane. You definitely need the skills you have as a dogman to get into the crane. So let's say another year on top of that. So like 4 years, that's an apprenticeship. And then I was thinking about comedy, and I was like, comedy is 10 years and there's no shortcuts. It's straight out over the top of the trenches, just running directly into fucking machine gun fire. That's comedy. And it takes 10 years of no reward, no fucking encouragement. 6 or 7 of those, you fucking suck. Completely suck. Like, it's embarrassing. And then from like years 7 to 10, you're okay. But when you look back from year 14 to year 10, you're like, sucked. Anyway, I was like, that's something you can't fucking teach someone in 4 weeks, 2 years, 3 years, 6 years. You can get famous before you're good at comedy, but it takes you forever to get good at comedy. And I was just thinking, that's worth money. That's worth a lot of fucking money, because anyone can turn up to the job I'm doing now and just with basic intelligence, you'll know it in a month, 2 months. But the comedy is not something you can do in that sort of time. And so the value of it should be extremely high. That's why the top end of comedy, the elite, they get paid extraordinary amounts of money because they're doing an extraordinary thing at the highest level. I'd never really thought of comedy as something of value. Just sort of like, yeah, I'd do that, whatever. Every cunt's funny. This cunt's funny. That cunt's funny. Your cunt on site's funny. Everyone's funny, whatever. But they're not. They're really not. Like, one of the big jokes on site is, I'll ask a question. I'll be like, so when do we need to get this done by? And the supervisor will be like, yesterday. When do we need to do this by? Yesterday. We just all have a good old laugh. So yeah, really what I was thinking was like, got to value the skills that I've gained in stand-up comedy because it is a thing and I can do it pretty good. And it's taken me almost 15 years to say faggot as a punchline and for it to kill. That's been my goal for fucking almost 15 years, to have faggot as the punchline and kill. And I've got a joke now where faggot's the punchline and it's killing. So basically what I was thinking is I'm going to be charging cunts a lot of money to come see my shows from now on. Fuck this $35 thing. I'm cranking it to 50 because you can't just grab someone off the tools, throw them in front of a fucking mic stand and fucking get them to yell faggot and have people laugh. It takes skill. It takes 14, almost 15 years of fucking just being in the trenches. Just never give up, never say die. And now we're here. Now we've got a joke that's doing well. Anyway, fucking, I don't even want to do this today because I'm so fucking tired, but let's do a Boyle Breaks history. I'm going to do it because I'm like, fucking, if I don't do it, it could be 900 weeks before I restart it again. So I'm just like, all right, Boyle Breaks history, let's get to it. This week, we're talking about Executive Order 6102. I don't know if I've talked about it before, but I'm going over it again because you need to know. You need a fucking refresher. For those of you who don't know what Executive Order 6102 was, let me tell you. Executive Order 6102 was issued in 1933 by President Franklin D. Sucks the D. Roosevelt. And the order was that, and it seems fucking insane. This seems crazy to me, but it happened. And it happened in the middle of the Depression. Anyway, the mandate, Executive Order 6102, mandated that all privately held gold, that's gold coins, bullion, fucking gold certificates, be surrendered directly to the Federal Reserve. That's the central bank. That's the place that prints the money out of thin air in exchange for paper money. They made it illegal in the US during the Depression to own gold. And not only that, they made you walk it up to the Federal Reserve and hand it over to them yourself. The fucking humiliation. Jesus Christ. So this is what they did. Some banks collapsed and they were basically on a gold standard back then. So you could exchange your notes and get gold back. So there were a few bank runs, a few banks collapsed, and they wanted to stop this. So they made gold illegal. But another reason why they wanted the gold was to expand the money supply. Because they were on sort of like a faux gold standard, they couldn't just print money out of fucking thin air. So one of the reasons they used for confiscating the gold of every citizen in the USA was they need to expand the money supply. Once again, because they couldn't just print money out of thin air back then. So the American citizens just marched their gold up to the Federal Reserve. And if they didn't, it wasn't like it's okay, you can just keep it. It was punishable by fucking the equivalent of 215,000 of today's dollars or 10 years in prison. So, so you had to go up to the Federal Reserve. You gave all your gold to the Federal Reserve because you're a good law-abiding citizen. And the Federal Reserve gave you the equivalent of $20.67 of notes per ounce. And the good law-abiding citizens of America did that in droves. So Executive Order 6102, the confiscation of gold, was in April 5, 1933. And then here's some fucking salt in the wound. A mere 8 months later, in January 1934, they passed... I can't even believe this is real. When I read about this, I've known about this for years now, but when I read about this, I'm like, did this really happen? And people really just fucking did this? They handed in their gold? They made gold illegal? Why would they make gold illegal? Who would hand it in? Anyway, they did, and people did. And then in January 1934, the US government passed the Gold Reserve Act, which revalued gold from the $20.67 per ounce that they just gave everyone to $35 an ounce. Can you fucking believe that? So after they'd collected everyone's gold, how long is it, April? 9 months later, after they'd collected all the gold, they revalued it. So let's say if you wanted to buy the ounce back, you had $21 or $20.67 or whatever the fuck it was. Can I buy my ounce of gold back? No, you can't, because gold's $35 an ounce now. Here's 60% of your ounce. That's if you could even buy gold, which you couldn't. So essentially, what they did was, and this is fucking wild, people just don't understand inflation. They confiscated everyone's gold, and then immediately after they'd got it all, they fucking inflated the currency. They devalued it. They made it, what's that? 60 or 70% less valuable. They fucked everyone. I don't know why it isn't just talked about every day. Remember when the fucking US confiscated all the gold? Like the most powerful country in the world confiscated every citizen's gold and made them march it to the Federal Reserve, take it to the Federal Reserve themselves. Anyway, if you think your government's great, good on you. They've been great for a very long time. So yeah, just think about that for a little while. Think about how the US made possession of gold illegal, then forced people to take it to the Federal Reserve. And once they'd got it all, once they'd bought it all for $20, then they repriced it to $35 9 months later after they'd bought it off you for $20. Fucking wild stuff. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Enjoy your gold, and I'll see you the fuck later.